Hey there, everybody. Pete Pardo here from Comic Book Users. Welcome to another episode of the show. It's Villain Spotlight Day, and I'm sitting here alongside my co-host extraordinaire over here.
Hello, comic book fans. I am Wild Bill the Unknown Comic, and I'd like to keep it that way.
Good luck.
Yeah, it's working out just fine. I wrote a joke for Paris Hilton. Did it tell you?
No.
Because she always says that's hot. So it inspired me to... Hey, Paris! If you're out there listening, you want to know what's really hot? Hotter than anything else on this earth? The sun. There you go. Chew on that for a while.
Captain Obvious, okay.
Yes. Well, everybody else is. So we're going to do Soloman Grundy, Villain Spotlight.
Born on a Monday.
Actually, he was born in 1944 in All American Comics, issue number 61, by a guy named Alfred Bester, and the artist was Paul Raymond. Goes way back.
Yeah, I had no idea he's been around that long. That's a long-ass time.
Obviously, he's most notorious as a Batman and Superman villain, as we see. I pulled this comic. This is from 1976. This is the only Soloman Grundy in my collection. I just picked this up at a flea market a few years ago, this book. This is Superman issue 301. This is from 1976. But what happened was, Soloman Grundy, he was a merchant who was murdered, and his body was dumped in a mystic swamp. And then there was a thunderstorm, so a combination between the mystic swamp and the electricity turned him into what he is.
So kind of like almost born from magic in a weird way, right?
Well, there's more to the story that I was reading, because I didn't really do my homework. I was working a lot of overtime. But Raja Ghul found him.
Reincarnated him. Okay.
Well, he kept murdering him and reincarnating him and murdering him and reincarnating him. But some of his powers are, he's kind of like Wolverine. He has this healing power.
Yeah.
And that's what Raja Ghul was doing. Like murdering him, he would be resurrected, and murder him again, he'd heal, resurrect, back and forth.
So he was swimming in the Lazarus pit for quite a bit.
That's where Raja Ghul found him.
Wow, okay. But that's later on, because Raja Ghul didn't get introduced till probably 30 years after that.
So, yeah, by who? Neil Adams, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Was he one of, or was it Denny O'Neil? And
maybe the two of them come out. Yeah, I don't remember.
Anyway, so he got more involved with Batman. But this particular issue, I noticed that as you read this, he talks like the Hulk.
He totally does. He reminds me of an even stupider Hulk, but more like zombie Hulk, right? Because he's kind of like, in a weird way, like an undead guy.
And actually, Superman has his hands full here.
Oh, yeah.
Fighting him.
He's really strong. Yeah, he's really strong.
And one of the other powers, he's invulnerable, and he's got superhuman strength, but the healing factor. And
so when you think you kill him, it's like
He also appears in some of the Batman video games.
Yes.
As a villain.
Yeah.
And
he says the little rhyme over and over and over again. Soloman Grundy, born on a Monday, blah, 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 blah.
So when he's fighting Superman, there's a part here I wanted to show you where Superman can't even pick him up. So Soloman Grundy's wreaking havoc on Metropolis. And Superman, of course, comes to the...
Yeah, look at that. Wow. Kapow.
Yeah. Superman gets, is getting beat up. So this guy has some strength if he can knock Superman around. But I'm looking for a panel where he tries to pick him up and he can't. So he knocks Superman. I guess it's the top of the Empire State Building.
Or whatever it's called in Metropolis, right?
Yeah. So he comes back.
That's a great page.
And nice Soloman Grundy pounds him into the ground. So, yeah, you see the similarities of, like, him being as strong as the Hulk.
Yeah.
Or even Superman himself.
Yeah.
And there's this one panel. So I guess he pounds him into the ground, into the sewer. Superman is, got to rethink his strategy on how to tackle Soloman Grundy. And
I think in more recent years,
he uses his heat vision to melt the ground around him.
Yeah.
But what happens eventually, Superman figures out they got to fight him in the air. Ground and air don't seem to work, so he figures he's got to put Soloman Grundy in the water. So he takes him out into the bay, and now there's this anchor chain, and Soloman Grundy pulls the chain for the ship. And eventually what happens is a second Soloman Grundy appears Because you know how they always do that Earth and Second Earth in the DC universe?
Yep.
So this second Solomon Grundy shows up, and the first Solomon Grundy is like, I got to get back to that mystical plane. So he assumes this guy's his friend. And then the second Solomon Grundy picks up the first one, and they fly away. Sounds suspicious, right?
Yeah.
Where they fly to? The moon. And then Solomon Grundy turns around and his friend is gone. So now he's all by himself. And you know what? It was Superman wearing a Solomon Grundy disguise.
Ah, there you go.
So he took him up to the Earth, and he feels terrible that he had to trick the guy because he knows that he's like a victim of his circumstances. He knows that Solomon Grundy is not a real villain. But Superman, like they always do, DC Comics always does that. Especially in Superman comics, they always explain the ending. That they throw you a curveball, and then they solve it at the end in the last panel. It was me, Superman. But it wasn't a second Solomon Grundy. Mm-hmm. It was Superman wearing a mask. And where's the panel where he takes the mask off? It's one of these panels. He pulls that mask off. Here it is when he's flying. Superman takes off the mask. And he's feeling bad. Like saying sometimes this job of Superman isn't that great, Has a lot of downside to it. Not so great being Superman all the time. But Solomon Grundy, interesting character.
It just goes to show you that he had a kind of like a sympathetic side, Solomon Grundy, always. Like he wasn't like pure evil like the Joker or, Penguin or the Riddler. He had, he was kind of misguided, kind of like the Hulk. I mean, that's why the similarities. You got to wonder if Marvel kind of patterned a little bit of the Hulk character on Solomon Grundy, who obviously was around for a hell of a
Marvel.
longer.
Stan Lee, I heard him in an interview one time. Also, the Hulk was
like Frankenstein, right?
No, Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde.
Oh yeah.
That's where the radiation came in to solve that story. But Stan Lee admits that the Hulk was a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde story. But there are tinges and similarities of the Hulk to Solomon Grundy.
Yeah.
The Solomon Grundy talks the same way as the Hulk, or I should say the Hulk talks like Solomon Grundy.
True.
Because the Hulk didn't come around until 1962.
Yeah. So quite
63,
later, almost 20 years later.
Yeah. But anyway,
and they really downplayed the strength of Solomon Grundy in recent years. I think it's the Injustice series that came out not that long ago. That Superman just annihilates Grundy like pretty quickly in that. But he's been a thorn in Batman's side for quite a bit.
But in this book, he's going toe to toe with Superman.
Yeah. The
surprise!
Is this the 80s or the 70s?
This is 76. This book is 1976. Yeah. It's July, I believe.
Yep.
And the title is "The Other Side of Space" interlude. But anyway, that's this villain spotlight.
Hold on, we got
more. You got some more?
We got more, yeah. So like we mentioned, he's also a big villain in Batman. So I tried to find something pretty cool that he appears in. He's not in this a lot, but for those of you who are familiar with the Long Halloween, pretty legendary little miniseries in the history of Batman comics. And
was that from the 90s or the early 2000s?
God, when was this from? Late 80s, I believe. I'm trying to remember exactly when this from. Hold on.
But anyway.
Yeah, it's because it is kind of 90. No, it can't be 98. When was this from? I don't know when the hell this was from. But anyway, it's great. Yeah, I don't remember exactly when this was published originally.
But anyway, back to Solomon Grundy.
So there is later in the story, and I'm not getting into the whole story here, but we just want to kind of show off Grundy. So there's this kind of confrontation between Grundy and Harvey Dent, who at this point in time is just ready to become Two-Face. As you can see there, that's him behind the bandages after he gets his face, slashed with acid. So there's Grundy again, looking like Grey Hulk, right? I mean, look at that. So there they are in the sewer, right? Because for whatever reason, they only showed Grundy hanging out in the sewer. So was he like roommates with Killer Croc or something?
Well, it makes sense because I guess because of the Mystic Swamp, water is like his home base, I suppose.
I guess.
I don't know a lot about Solomon Grundy.
Solomon Grundy, born on a Monday, and Harvey Dent's like, never ask a question you don't want to know the answer to. Solomon Grundy, born on a Monday, christened on a Jack Stark and Stormy Tuesday. It's like, so he just kind of repeats like the same shit over and over and over again. So here he is, talking to Harvey, like I said, in the sewer, and Harvey's probably like, oh yeah, this guy isn't playing with a full deck, but he seems nice enough. And he's like,
I can use this guy.
Died on a gay and glorious Saturday, buried on a baking, blistering Sunday. Is that what you did? Did you die and come back? Can a man live two lives? And that's essentially what happened to Grundy. And I don't even think he shows up much more in this particular storyline here. But again, he pops up in a lot of Batman issues throughout, especially throughout the last like 30 years or so.
And I don't have any of them, because if I did, I would have pulled them.
Yeah, I had others, but this is kind of the most prominent one, although he features more in others.
In fact, that's one of the reasons I bought this book, because I saw him on the cover. Yeah, I had no Grundy at all in my collection, so I got one.
And if you're out there and you watch a lot of the DC animated movies and stuff, he's in quite a lot of them. A lot of the Justice League and Batman ones, Grundy shows up quite a bit. They use him a lot in the cartoons, which is always pretty cool.
Interesting character, I think. You know, but I had no idea he went back to 1944.
I didn't either. That's
I thought he was like from the 70s. You know.
Yeah.
But anyway, good to know.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, thanks for watching this episode of Comic Book Geezers. Please click the like button if you like this video and share it with your friends if they don't know about us. We appreciate that. As always, click the notification bell so you can be kept in the loop. And subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you for your comments and your subscriptions. And thank you for being here. And we'll see you next time on Comic Book Geezers.
That's right. For Wild Bill, I am Pete Pardo. Stay tuned for more Villain Spotlight, inside the covers, favorite covers, all sorts of fun stuff here on Comic Book Geezers. Till then, we'll see you in a couple days. Take care. Bye-bye.